Hello, how are you? My name is Michelle. Welcome to the lesson. Thank you. I do not understand why people talk like this in English. This sounds so automatic and this sounds just like a robot. This is how we have learned English in our schools, and sometimes we end up speaking like this, which sounds very unnatural and not so normal. So in this lesson with me, you're learning how to talk like a human being and sound more natural and not so fake. My name is Michelle, as I've already told you, and we are going to look at some words and phrases here which I am going to change into more natural phrases. So the first robot phrase that we have is, hello, how are you? We often say that, but that sounds very unnatural. As I've told you earlier, there are better ways of saying this. Humans would generally say, what's up? That's a more natural way of saying, how are you? Saying, what's up? So, what's up actually it's a slang word, and it does not mean what's up in the sky. It means, how are you and how are things with you? That's another sentence that you can use. How are things? How are things at your end? What's up? How is life? Rather than saying, hello, how are you? The next phrase that we have is thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you so much that you're not going to use this phrase anymore. There are better ways of saying this as well. You could say, I really appreciate your effort. I know that does not sound unnatural, rather it sounds very formal. So you would want to use this phrase at work maybe. I really appreciate your effort. Appreciate means you're telling someone that they've done a very good job. Done a good job. Thanks a bunch, which means a lot of thanks. A bunch is like a lot of thanks coming together, like a bouquet. I'm giving it to you. Thanks a bunch. You can use it with a group of friends or with your friends in general, or maybe even your colleagues. It's more informal than the first one. And if you're really with your best friend and you want to thank him or her, you wouldn't even want to say all this. You would simply say cheers with a high five like this. Cheers. Cheers shows how happy you are. It shows that you're very joyful and thankful. Right. Now here we have the next robotic phrase, I don't understand. Yes, when you don't understand something, you don't have to talk like this. You can simply say, I didn't quite follow you, which means I was not listening to what you were saying. Are you following me or not right now? Listen to me carefully. I didn't quite follow you. Sometimes you could also say, I didn't get you, which means I didn't understand you. So you do not always have to use the word understand to talk about not understanding someone. There are other phrases and sentences that have the same meaning as understanding someone or not understanding someone. The next phrase that we have is, I often hear this when we are interviewing people or when people are appearing for interviews. They always say, I graduated from Southampton University in physics department. Ooh, okay, really? Really? Did you study physics? I thank God that you did not study English and you said the same sentence. So I graduated. It's really old school. It's not wrong. Please don't get offended. It's not wrong English. It's correct, but it's very boring and robotic. So you might want to say, I studied English at Southport University. Right. And if you do not want to say that you studied at English at Southport University, then maybe you would only want to say the second part and remove the first part, which is died. You died. I died English at Southport University. No. You're not going to say that. You will say, I did. Okay? Not that you died, please. I did English at Southport University. So that reduces the effort. You studied or you did. And if at all you do not want to tell the subject that you studied at Southport University, you could simply say, I went to Southport University. Maybe you studied a really obscure subject, anatomy. I went to Southport University. All right. Now we have the second last sentence with us, which is I searched for it on the internet. Okay, you searched for it, which means like you really searched and digged for something on the internet. No. You cannot dig on the internet. You usually look up on the internet or you check out on the internet. So I looked up for it on the internet. Okay, no searching, no digging. And I checked it out on the internet or on the net. Any which ways. So you can use any of these instead of saying that you searched or digged for some information. The last sentence that we have is it was very, 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 very good. Okay, I agree. Something could be very, very, very good for you, but only robots repeat themselves so much. If you want to sound like a human, you might want to say that it was fantastic. It was fantastic. So you're at benefit actually. You're saying only one word and you're putting in the same emotion in just one word. So you're at benefit. And if not fantastic, you think you don't like this word, then you might want to say it was magnificent. Okay, that's a greater degree of something being fantastic. So if something was too good for you, it was magnificent for you. Right. Okay. So this is how you can avoid talking like a robot. And in this lesson, we have learned some interesting ways to sound very natural and very human. All right? So instead of saying, hello, how are you? You could say, what's up? How are things? I really appreciate your effort if you're talking to your boss or your colleague and you want to thank them. Or you could say, thanks a bunch to your friend. And if your best friend it is, then cheers, buddy, for being so good to me. The next one we have is, I didn't quite follow you. Please don't write that in the comments. I'll feel very bad. I hope you really followed me and understood whatever I taught you. And also don't write, I didn't get you. I'd like to hear that you got me. The next one is, you went to Southport University, or you did physics at Southport University, or maybe you studied blah, 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 blah. The second last is, I looked up, which means you searched. No, not searched, but you just saw through and you looked up or checked out for information on the internet on a topic. And the last one, this lesson was absolutely fantastic and this lesson was magnificent at my end. I hope it was great at your end too. Come back for more lessons with me and talk like a natural speaker of English, more human and less robotic. I hope you had fun and this was a great lesson from my side for you. This is Michelle signing off. Bye-bye.